Miss Lovely Bothy. I'm okay, thank you. Yes, the pipe music was very encouraging, being the Bard's birthday today, and the reason why we're all gathered today in this lovely Scottish gathering in the DIVA Bothy.
It's
Now, do you
very
know what
cool.
a bothy is, Carrie? Do you know what a
Well, I
bothy
was
is?
going to ask you for the viewers who might not be familiar with the Scots dialect. What is a bothy?
A bothy is a basic shelter and it's left unlocked and available for all those who have need of it. And it's not a facility for, toileting facility. It's actually if you're out in the hills and you need a bit of shelter. So that's what a bothy is. So here we are, all gathered in, cooried in together in a cold and frosty evening. And we're hoping to warm you up with our lovely banter. Oh, the banter. And some lovely, lovely singing. So I don't know, who else have we got in here? I can see a few people I recognise. A few people you recognise, Carrie?
Yes, some old friends, some new friends, and we're going to be hearing from some others this evening as well. We've got some pre-recorded treats for you all, so it's going to be a really lovely evening, and I'm very excited to be here.
Well, I hope everyone has got a wee nip. That's not anything racist, a wee nip. I've got my iron brew. Cheers, everybody. And here's to a lovely, cosy Korean by the fire.
Lange.
Slange. What about the lovely Lindsay and Vivian from Coaltown Daisies to start us off?
Hello, how are you doing? Lovely to be here tonight, and we're going to kick off with a tune of ours called The Brave One.
I was the brave one, the one who got away. I was the one with the courage while you chose to stay, and I was the strong one to leave it all behind. And no, I took nothing of mine, I just left it there for you to find. Broken up bedroom, well, it's not the same place where there were two bodies laying. Now an empty space, sitting in silence. My ears heard without sound as a photograph lies broken where you threw it on the ground. Starting without you wasn't easy to do, and I was kidding myself that you do the same to deny all the damage that you'd left inside. I would run to a place where you couldn't touch me and just hide. The brave one, the one who got away. I was the one with the courage while he chose to stay, and I was the strong one to leave it all behind. No, I took nothing of mine, I just left it there for you to find.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
That's
That was
absolutely fantastic. And the thing that people are probably not aware of, that being on Zoom as a musician is an absolute ruddy nightmare. And it's never been perfected yet. So that sounded lovely. I would say go quieter for the next song, but yeah, it sounded absolutely amazing, and
Thanks very much.
I'm really, really delighted you agreed to come in. I've gone through my diary and I won't be able to ask anybody any more favours ever again. I've been through my list, and it's just so fantastic that here in Scotland we've got a really great selection of female artists who are happy to come in and join us in this situation. So thank you very much for joining us. And
Thanks very much for having us. Cheers.
It's an amazing, amazing place, isn't it, Carrie? I'm delighted to be a member of it, you know.
It is. It's wonderful. I think the community that we have has been it's really sort of hit home for me this past year, just how important it is, and the strength of it, and whether that's the DIVA community that we're part of tonight, or sort of the wider Scottish community, the LGBT community. It's really lovely to be part of something very special.
I think it's always just great for somewhere to go. I mean, or to belong. And I spend a lot of time on my own at the moment, and it just feels like it's somewhere to belong. And how fantastic that DIVA started. I'm really delighted to be a member of the DIVA community, and it's got a really mixed age group, which I love as well, of course. Being, beyond 21 now, I think that's amazing.
Slightly beyond 22.
Yes, thanks, Carrie. Thank you. Just 22. Yes, I'll be 23 next year. But I did actually look. I mean, people down south are getting snow, and they're like, "Oh, snow!" And actually, we get snow quite a lot up here. And I came across this thing that said that apparently Scottish people have 120 words for snow. Who knew? I didn't know that. There's a couple here I'm going to read you because I thought they were lovely. Feefle. Isn't that a great word? Feefle. Feefle means to swirl. So when the snow is swirling, it's feefling. Another one, a flindrican is a slight snow shower. And a snow powder is fine driving snow. And a word we probably all know is spitters. Spitters is small drops or flakes of wind-driven rain or snow. And unbrack is what we hope for soon. It's a thaw. So there you go. Who knew? I also discovered there are 396 words for marbles hot in the heels of snow. So I may look for that for another session, if anyone's interested. Anyway, yes, I diversify as always, as per usual. I just wondered if we could invite up Hannah Bardell, who's just joined us, the lovely Hannah Bardell. Now, Hannah, are you from Livingston, or are you just based in Livingston because you're the MP for Livingston?
No, I was born and brought up here in Livy, in a wee bit of Livy called Craigshill, which some Scottish folk or folk from West Lothian might know. But yes, I was born and brought up here, and I was just reflecting on anybody who's a football fan might know that Livingston just got to the cup final, so it's a big deal. And I used to work at the football club and serve pies and pints and do everything. So it's a proud moment. But yes, I'm from here and I get to represent here, and it's a huge privilege.
Well, thank you for joining us. And actually, I think it's an amazing privilege for people like ourselves who are part of the LGBT community to see more and more people who represent them in more ways than just politically. And it's just amazing. And thank you from me, yourself and Angela, two very, very important members of your parties, and just for basically being yourselves. I think that's an incredible and powerful thing. So for me, I'm very grateful for you for doing what you do. Not only are you a good politician, you're also a very good lesbian.
I'm glad to hear that I have good lesbian credentials.
I I've just
I
anointed
always
you.
try to be a good
You're
lesbian. I mean, maybe we should write a good lesbian guide. I don't know. Is that something that we should be, that we should be working on? And
Harry, what do you think?
Yeah, I think maybe the next issue of Diva can be the.
But no, and so do you, Horse. And I think amongst all the folk we've got with us tonight, everybody's doing their bit, and we're all just as important as each other. But it is one of the reasons I stood for Parliament, because I didn't see very many lesbian working class women in Parliament, and or that many members of the LGBT community, although we are apparently the gayest Parliament in the world now, or one of, alongside the Scottish Parliament. So that's a big bonus.
Well, you just have to just be yourself, don't you? And I think if you're good at what you do, then what can people say about you?
Quite a lot. Twitter can be a real bin fire sometimes, but there you go. You got to roll the punches.
I know. So what are you going to do for us tonight? I know what you told me you were going to do, so I'm fascinated to hear. So do you want to go ahead and do your reading?
Yeah, so what I've done is some of you who follow politics possibly might have seen on Sunday, my party leader, Nicola Sturgeon, did an interview on the Andrew Marr show, and she might have quoted some Burns in relation to a certain Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, and that got me thinking about Burns. And I've done quite a few Burns suppers over the years, done some replies to the lasses, aptly, and some immortal memories. So this is the first time I've ever had a bash at doing a poem. So I decided to rewrite a few verses of Tea Moose. You will know that famous one because Nicola had quoted it. So this is Tea Boris the Moose, and I've got the Scots verses, and I've got the translations, shall we say, alongside them. So I'll do each of them so that people know what it is I'm actually saying, wherever you're from, that hopefully it'll make sense. So here, and I'm sure I'll get the Scots wrong as well. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that will come in and tell me that I pronounce things wrong, but I'm going to give it my best shot. That's what Burns Night's about. Burns was inclusive, and he believed in the rights of women, and he, for all his ills, he did stand up for us, and he also stood up to the establishment and to politicians. He didn't really have a kind word to say about politicians, which I quite like. So I'll give it a go and see how we go on. We sleek at Cowran timorous bojo, oh, what a panic's in thy breasty. Thou needna start a wassy hasty, with your privileged posh pish patter. I would be loving to run and chase thee, with a skanking haggis. Little cunning cowering timorous bojo, oh, what a panic is in your breast. You need not start away so hasty, with your privileged posh pish chat. I would be loving to run and chase you with a rotten haggis. I'm truly sorry, not. Nicola's brilliance is exposing this tatty union and your uselessness, and justifies that ill opinion which makes thee startle and abody realise that you, thy rich, blustering, bleating, bampot, you're not a fellow mortal, you're mental, and on your ain, champagne swirling, top hat wearing, benefits stealing, inward looking, backward planet. I'm truly sorry not that Nicola's brilliance is exposing this tatty union and your uselessness, and justifies that ill opinion, which makes you startle and everybody realise that you're a wealthy, blustering, bleating idiot. You're not a fellow mortal, you're a bit mad really. And on your own champagne drinking, top hat wearing, benefit stealing, inward looking, backward planet. Thou saw the fields laid bare and waste, and weary winter coming fast, and your ain folk starving, benefits cut, school meals, barely an eating a tatty for the wains. You're the neep. With you cosy there, a waff of the poor, and your posh pals dwell and crash. The cruel cuts come out for your government and your stinking party. You saw the fields laid bare and empty, and weary winter coming fast, and your own people starving, their benefits cut, and school meals, barely a turnip and a potato for the children. You're the turnip, and with you cosy there, away from the poor, you and your posh pals dwell, till crash, the cruel cuts come, out from your government and stinking party. But Bojo, thou art no thy lane. All your Tory pals are among ye. You've nae foresight and you're half a vain. The best laid schemes o' mice and men, like you, gang after glee, and have ended in a rammy, a swicking, shitey cluster boorach, and you lay us nought but grief and pain, having promised joy and all sorts on the side of buses. You've delivered a pure shambles, ye Egypt. But Bojo, you're not alone, and all your Tory pals are with you. You've zero foresight and you're very vain. The best laid schemes of mice and men, like you, go off Doré, and have ended in a totally ructious, cheating, shitey mess. And you leave us nothing but grief and pain, having promised joy and all sorts of things. On the side of buses, you've delivered a complete mess, you idiot.
Well, we couldn't have put it any better, could we, Carrie?
That was absolutely wonderful.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank
Pleasure.
you. I bet you enjoyed it as well.
I quite enjoyed writing it, and I quite enjoyed reading it.
Can I ask if you can deliver that in Parliament?
I don't see any reason why not. I mean, I might get called to order or out of order, but what's new?
It'll be worth it, I think.
If you can kick a
So-
football around, then you can deliver a bit of Burns.
Oh, what a ridiculous thing to do, kick a football about. My God, that's terrible. Thank you, but you'll stay with us anyway and join in with the banter.
I will,
Oh, the
absolutely. Always here for the banter.
So we're going to have, we're going to do something. Val has sent us a small piece, and Val McDermid, people know, is best known for her skills, obviously, as a great author. But in addition to this, she's also part of an authors collective band called the Fun-Loving Crime Writers, which she really adores doing. But most recently, she's been showing off her culinary skills with her bidey in the kitchen. Jo, her wife, films her while she does some cookings, and it's very, very entertaining and well worth it. She is also a fellow Fifer, like the Coaltown Daisies. And now, who else here is from Fife? I think Jenny Gilruth, we were saying, weren't we? There's a few Fifers in here.
I'm a wee bit Fife. My family are from Fife. And
A
then
wee bit
born just north in Dundee. So
Well, we're all very well represented here. But anyway, this is a piece by Val McDermid.
I think we might be having some technical difficulties, Horse.
Do you want me to, I was going to sing after Val. Shall I just go ahead and sing and see if we can sort that before I
think that sounds lovely.
Good idea, yeah, okay.
Can you tell us what you're going to sing?
Well, yes, I just need to, everything's gone to sleep here on this Mac, so maybe you could entertain people for 5 seconds.
Well, I was wondering if any of you had a Scottish icon that you'd like to tell us about. Horse McDonald's actually one of mine. I mean, it would be rude not to mention her. But has anyone else got a Scottish icon? The more lesbian, the better.
Oh man, I was going to say everybody at Celtic Connections just now is my Scottish icon.
10% though.
Yeah, I know. So there might be a few lesbians amongst the bunch. But yeah, anybody at the moment actually who is playing at Celtic Connections, and it hasn't gone ahead, obviously, as planned. So they're doing it online. So any particularly Scottish musician playing there just now, they're our icons right now. Because they need people to come and watch, and it's just really good for our country to be able to get it out there still. So they're doing a grand job. So all icons.
Totally.
Kat, did you have anybody? I'm still coming in with my my affected voice. Did you have anybody, Lynnie or Kat or?
I was going to name check Eddie Reader because she's got probably the best album of Burns songs. It's been out a while, but I always go back to it, and I basically try and steal her patter every time I go and see her live. Definitely, she's been a massive, massive influence. So yeah, shout out to Eddie. Not sure she's in the diva community, but I'll give her a shout out anyway.
She is.
She's not a lesbian, I don't think.
No, she's not. No, no. Kat.
I'm quite a fan of Alan Cumming, who I think is. I don't know if he's a member of the diva community. Well, he should be. But I think he's amazing. I think he does so much good for Scotland as well. He's a good rep and just a fantastic performer and actor.
I think he's kind of transcended all sorts of, you know, he can maybe say things that some of us might not be able to say. And because he's in a position that he can say things and people are less likely to attack him. I'm sure, like Hannah, he gets a lot of, you know, really nice mail as well. Hannah, did you have anyone you wanted to?
Well, funnily enough, I was thinking Jackie Kay. That was the first person that came to mind, and that you know, that's partly because, you know, she's obviously one of our contributors, but because I remember reading her book Trumpet when I was a little girl and at school, and it had a huge impact on me. And it's, do you know, it's one of those really difficult things when people ask you and your mind goes blank. And and do you know what I often say is I say my mum, and that sounds a bit ridiculous to say, but my mum brought me and my brother up on her own. And I think she's a typical Scottish mammy, you know, she's a mammy to many. And you know, she's been my rock all through various elections and through coming out and you know, various traumas and stuff in my life. But she typifies, I think, the typical Scottish mammy who's always there and is the backbone of all our communities. And I think it's also the kind of thing that, and the people that we've turned to through COVID. You know, women have taken a lot of the brunt, and our mums, and you know, a lot of people don't have their mums around or have lost them, and that's, I always count myself as incredibly lucky to have an amazing mum.
I think at this moment in time, I really, really miss my mum and my dad. They're both not here anymore, and sometimes I feel very, very sad that they're not here. I'm glad they're not, you know, because it's not a good time for older people. But yeah, probably my mum. But before that, I would have gone and suggested an English school teacher that I had called Miss McKinley, who sadly was murdered, actually, a dreadful thing. And she was a really big influence on me, and she encouraged me to write. And I think we could all maybe cite teachers who are a big influence and really, really positive. They didn't care what I would like. They were very positive. And I remember when I got beyond 16 and I was still at school, I used to go into the school toilets and smoke like that. And I was a very bad influence, like, amongst all the youngsters. And she used to come in and she went, "Look, I know you're old enough to smoke," she said, "but would you mind not doing it in here? Can you do it somewhere else, please?" You know, so she never, you know, so anyway. Let me sing this song. Maybe Fiona can let us know what's happening with that video, but I'm going to sing what I would hope at some point in the future would be a traditional song. It's the song that people know me for, and it's Careful. Sunshine on your upturned face, everything falls into place. Blue sky above, sand underfoot, the happiest I've seen you look. A sunrise stood on a low landscape, more beauty than your breath can take. Boats out to sea, goes in the air. I might look as if I didn't care. Careful with me, careful with my heart. World keeps turning, my world falls apart. When you're out of reach from it, when you're out of reach from it. Fool or wise, no in between. I've been both and I can't win. If this love should suffer sudden death, it won't be because I'm not myself. I don't forget, I depend upon the simple fact you turn my heart over, 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 over. Careful with
of reach from it, when you're out of reach from it, careful with me, careful with my heart. World keeps turning, my world falls apart. When you're out of reach from it, when you're out of reach, careful with me, careful with me. Ooh, sunshine on your upturned face, everything falls into place, and blue sky above, and everything falls into place. I love your upturned face. Sunshine on your upturned face.
Wow. What a treat. That was incredible, Horse. Thank you. Had a little tear in my eye as you were singing that.
Yeah.
I think I said to you in rehearsals, it sounds very glamorous, it wasn't. It's been such a long time since I heard live music, and I really miss it. I think tonight's reminded me just how much. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. I think when you write songs, if they come from your heart, a song it's not this what they call top liner anymore. It's a melody and a lyric, and the best melody and lyrics come from your heart, and that obviously came from there. So yeah, so I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. I think we might be ready now. This is I think, hopefully, this is Val's piece for us, Val McDermid.
When most people think of Robert Burns, they think of his love poetry, they think of the tam o'shanter humour, they might even think of his body poetry. But for me, my relationship with Burns is a lot different. And I think that when you look at Burns's work, he'd have been very happy in the company of us lesbians. When I was wee, I grew up in a household that talked about Burns a lot, that recited Burns a lot. My dad was a stalwart of the Bowhill People's Burns Club, which was essentially a club of working men. They worked on the railways, they worked down the pits, they worked in the shipyard. They had the occasional dentist or English teacher or doctor part of the membership. But essentially, they gathered together every couple of weeks to recite Burns and to sing Burns. And I was brought up in a household whose basic principles were formed by Burns's principles. In particular, the notions expressed in A Man's a Man for All that it doesn't matter what your external circumstances, it doesn't matter what you're born into. The world is your oyster if you choose to make it so. And I was very much encouraged to think of myself as somebody who could be whatever I wanted to be in the world. And my parents were very accepting of whatever I chose to be in the world throughout my life. And sometimes I think that must have been quite a strange experience for them. But I think the reason why I think that Burns would have been perfectly happy in our company was that he wasn't just interested in bonny lassies. He has a huge reputation for womanising, and quite justifiably so. He did scatter a lot of illegitimate children around Scotland. He has hundreds of descendants, both legitimate and illegitimate. But he wasn't just interested in women for what they had between their legs. He was also interested in what they had between their ears. His closest friend in many respects, a confidant and a correspondent for many, many years, was a woman called Frances Dunlop, an elderly widow who was something of a woman of letters. But they were friends for years, and there was never any question of any relationship of impropriety or attraction between them. And indeed, Burns supported the work of other women writers. There was a writer called Janet Little, and she was described by someone else, not Burns, as being a very tall, masculine woman with features somewhat coarse. And what Burns did was set up a subscription, like an 18th century Kickstarter, to have her poems published. And he was one of the first subscribers to this fund to get her poetry published. He also supported other writers like Helen Craik, who wrote Gothic novels, and also exchanged letters with Burns. They exchanged poetry with each other, and there was a lot of support coming both ways in this thing. So for me, I think what Burns is although he's a great love lyricist, what he is a poet of equality and a poet of possibility. And that's what I grew up hearing, and that's what I take forward from Burns to this day.
I think it's absolutely fantastic. Val is ever with her finger on the pulse, and brilliant words, and always very well thought out.
She's definitely a Scottish icon, and some of our viewers on Facebook are sharing theirs as well. Someone agreed with me. Horse is our icon. Rachel Corsie, footballer, is an icon, and Greyfriars Bobby, of course, who visitors to Edinburgh will know all too well. But back to you, Horse. You had some news recently, didn't you? Maybe you could talk about maybe a portrait hanging somewhere very special.
Usually when people say that, not to me, but they usually think, are you expecting or something? You've got some news, haven't you? No, it's a bit late for me, really. The wonderful Roxana Halls, the London-based painter, who doesn't really do portraits, came to see me performing at, God, the name's going out of my head, in Streatham, with David McCalmont and Jeanette Mason. And it was the Dusty and Shirley show, and she came with some friends who insisted she come along, and she came up to meet me afterwards, and it was a bit like, you want to come up and see my etchings? She was like, do you want to come up and see my paintings? And I was like, what? Well, yeah, I would love to. And I thought, oh. But anyhow, I went up, and I went to what is now her famous Bavarian buffet. Her studio is located in the top floor of an incredible old cinema in Streatham, and it's literally got flock wallpaper in it, and it's got a bar at the end, like a really old bar, and she serves you tea in sort of proper china, etc. It was a wonderful experience, and she said, would I let her do my portrait? And I was like, me? Well, okay. And then rolled forward some period of time later, and she said it was finished, and it just sort of floated about in midair. And in the back of my mind, I thought, well, it'd be really nice if the portrait went somewhere, that lots of people could see it. And I was just thinking maybe Lanark, maybe Glasgow, maybe, I don't know, maybe something. Never in my wildest dreams knowing that the strangest fortune was going on, where Imogen Gibbon, who is one of the main master curators of the National Portrait Gallery, loved Roxana's work, and coincidentally had gone to see Roxana's work, and before she started the portrait actually, and she said, oh, I'd love to have you hanging in the gallery, but obviously you need a Scottish subject. And Roxana went, oh, I'm just about to paint a horse. And she went, oh, that's amazing. Now roll forward another period of time, and they've got, rightfully, because the portrait is acquired for the nation, it goes through an entire process of all the committee members, all the directors of all the galleries, they look at different portraits and decide if they're going to go through anyway. They said yes. And then it was brought up in it had its own box built, its own horse box, and it was transported up specially at special temperature, brought up to Scotland, and eventually hung. And it's hanging. The only thing in that gallery in the main great hall is my portrait. And do you know what's fascinating about it? Me as a person, I think about myself as very dark and not very colourful, but the portrait is full of light. And the reason she says it's like that is because when I perform, that's what springs out of me. It's like the inside on the outside, and it's just, I can't explain it. It's too much to explain, but it's one of the greatest honours of my life. And I think about, particularly, I say little girl or boy, it should be little girl or little boy, but I particularly think about a little girl walking into that gallery and seeing me and going, oh, that person looks very different, you know, or I could be like that, or I can achieve things. So something simple like that is just, I can't tell you how important it is to me, never mind how important it might be for our community or our culture. It's a big, different person in that location. It's an incredible thing. Now, we haven't had a chance to unveil it properly, but when this lockdown goes, I will sing and Roxana and I will finally be united with the portrait in there. I know that's, sorry, that's quite
We
long.
will have some exciting, maybe an exclusive that we'll bring you later on. But I think now we've got a message from our macker that Hannah mentioned, Jackie Kay. She's going to read a little poem.
Hi there everyone, how are you doing? I can't quite believe it, but this is my 10th Sunday poem. The weeks are just going in, week to week to week to week. But one thing I've really noticed talking to everybody is how much people are missing their friends. I'm certainly missing all my friends a lot. So I thought I would read this poem called Fear. It's the old Scottish word for a friend along with Joe. But in this poem, I pronounce it Feary because it gives me more rhymes. And it's a poem that celebrates friendship across the course of an entire lifetime. Feary. If we went to the Tapmost Hill, Feary, where we used to climb as girls, we'd see the snow of the day, Feary, settling on the hills. We'd mind another day, maybe, when we ran down the hill in the snow, sliding and singing our way to the foot, lassies laughing together, how braw, the years slipping awa, out in the weather. And now we're suddenly old, Feary. Our friendship near became weary. We've aye seen the world differently. Where would have been without my Joe, my Feary, my Fiercy, my dearie-o? Our hair, it micht be silver now. Our walk, a wee bit doddery. But we've had a whirl and a blast, girl, through the cold blast winter, through spring, summer. O'er a lifetime, my Feary, my bonny lassie, I'd defend you, me, blithe and blatter. Here we gang down the hill, nae matter, past the bracken, bonny braes, barley, out by the roaring sea, still having a blether. We who loved sincerely, we who loved sae fiercely, the snow ne'er looked sae barry, nor the winter trees sae pretty. Come on, my dearie, tak my hand, my Feary.
Gorgeous.
That made me cry. I don't quite know why, but Jackie Kay is a real inspiration. She's been through a lot in her life, and actually seeing her with her mum just now, she lost her dad fairly recently, but seeing her with her mum is incredible because I've spent a little bit of time with them, and her mum's such a character. But Jackie is what a poet, what words she speaks. She speaks for everybody. It's incredible. It moved me to tears. That actually, I don't quite know why, but it did.
This sounds absolutely ridiculous that I'm going to try and follow the macker by doing a wee reading. Thankfully, they're her words, so not my own. This is not really a poem. It's a tweet that she did a few years ago for Burns Day. But it just goes to show like what a talent. Even her tweets are poetic. So here's a little Jackie Kay for you. This Burns night. Here's to the lassies that love laddies, and the lassies that love lassies. Here's to the laddies that love lassies, and the laddies that love laddies. Here's to the lassies that once were laddies, and the laddies that were lassies. Here's to the theys, and here's to the us. That's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah. Gosh, I mean that fire roaring now. I feel like just removed from everybody else that's sitting out on Facebook, but it just feels like we're sitting all together, comfy and cosy, in a little bothy somewhere, and all part of the same community, and all like just almost kind of joining hands in a kind of collective moment. We may be a Scottish gathering, but we welcome everyone, and I think that's what's really wonderful about tonight. I'm feeling cheery again. Let's move swiftly on to the lovely Kat Healey, who's based in Gullen, which is its north coast from Edinburgh, isn't it, Kat?
Northeast, yeah, sort of out to the coast, east side. Oh, I think you're muted, Horse. Did you ask me something? Is Horse? Are you asking me something, Horse?
Yes. Yes. No, I'm pretending that it's you that's daft. No, you weren't born in Gullen. Where were you born?
Well, you won't believe it, but I swear I was born in Bells Hill Maternity. I know, no one believes it. I don't sound like it, but I've lost my West Coast. But yeah, then I moved to Germany when I was 1, and my parents worked within the sort of army, BFPO, and I was brought up in that sort of education. So I've got a very mixed accent, but Scottish roots.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah, what are you going to sing for us? You tell us a little bit, and you just sing. You introduce this and do.
So I'm gonna sing one of my own to start with, and it's a song called Perfect, and it really is a song about sort of self-acceptance, which is why I chose it. I'm so grateful to be invited here this evening. I really, really appreciate it. It is a lovely and such a supportive, inclusive community. So I really hope this song resonates. And even though it sort of came from quite a fragile place about, you know, not having much confidence and wanting to kind of push through that, I didn't want to write a sad song. So this is a very rare Kat Healey, slightly cheerful tune. So it's called Perfect. Hang on, just get the right mic. There we go. Is that coming through? Okay, here we go. Great big bang, it woke me up in time, and I realized I'm spinning on a dime. I don't want to miss another day, no. So I skip to the moon, the flowers are in bloom and the grass is green, singing on the street, and everywhere I look that sun is shining. And I hear what you're saying to me, baby, that I would be perfect if I could be strong, and love would be so good, love would be long. There's a right way to ache, a right way to break. We're all a little fragile till we're safe. Well, I got loose change, I throw it in a cup, and my coffee's hot. Grateful for the lot, and I shouldn't be afraid. No, not today, no. So I sing out my words, I know I hurt worse, and I'll keep on trying. Gloves of a fighter, and everybody's got that right to play, yeah. And I hear what you're saying to me, baby, that I would be perfect if I could be strong. Love would be so good, love would be long. There's a right way to ache, a right way to break. We're all a little fragile till we're safe. And I don't want to lose my mind or think about it all the time. I hear
all a little fragile till we're safe. Ah, ah,
Just love it, Kat. I love your voice. Vibrato is just lovely. I was singing along there and I thought, God, is my mic muted?
Thanks so much. Thank you.
That was lovely. Kat, what are you up to just now? What's happening just now? You've started your own little podcast, haven't you?
Yeah, so I've started a podcast, and which is actually much more fun than I thought, because I was quite nervous doing it, but I do quite enjoy doing it. So the next step for the podcast is actually to be brave enough to sort of chat with people, because I've just been kind of doing it as an essay format. So I might be getting in touch, might be calling in some favours. So I'm doing that, and I'm working on an album because I finished my master's in poetry just there in September, and so I've been writing a lot about the East Lothian witch trials. So, and a lot of the women that were obviously put on trial. So I'm kind of combining it with music as well, poetry and spoken words and music. So hopefully that'll be out next year. So yeah, quite busy.
Probably later this year, who knows?
Yeah.
I think it just lost all sort of sense of timing altogether. Well, look you up. I think Cat Healey Music, they'll find you, won't they? But all of us are on, aren't we?
Yes.
Well, thank you. We'll hear from you again shortly, but we're going to move on to something by Angela Crawley, who is the MP for where I used to live, Lanark and Hamilton, I think. And having her as an MP where I used to live is brilliant.
On the 25th of January every year, we celebrate the life and works of Robert Burns, his poetry and written work, his love of women, and the contributions he's made to Scottish society and the world over. This year in particular has been a pretty tough one. Between Brexit and the COVID pandemic, I think we can all recognise the true value and the sense of community that DIVA has provided to many of us throughout this difficult time. Which is exactly why I felt that this was the right poem to give to this occasion. Of course, Robert Burns' poem, The Rights of Women. While Europe's eyes is fixed on mighty things, the fate of empire and the fall of kings, while quacks of state must each produce his plan, and even child lisp the rights of man. Amid this mighty fuss, just let me mention, the rights of women merit some attention. Happy Burns Day, everyone.
And happy Burns to you, Angela. Thank you for that lovely message.
If you had told me when I was 16 that we would have a female MP that was lesbian out and lesbian, I would have been thrilled. I'd probably be knocking her door for help. Quite amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Shall we move on to Lynnie Carson?
More music, yes.
Hello.
Lynnie for some time now, and
I've been jumping up and down to the boiler horse because you told me it was loud during the sound check. Sitting here reading.
I can't hear a thing now, so you must have put it off.
It's off.
I was just concerned that people would think it was your stomach or something. I don't know.
That's highly likely, I suppose, yeah.
Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us about yourself and what you're going to play.
Yeah, my name's Lynnie Carson. I think it's up on the screen, but I've had a total profile pic fail. Everybody else has got a lovely picture or a logo. Glasgow-based singer-songwriter, originally from Gilruth. I'm 5'11", size 8 feet. Is that the kind of thing you mean? Anything else? And a big fan of Rabbie.
Well, yeah. And you're going to do a Rabbie song, aren't you? Yes, you are.
Yeah. I've chosen Green Grow the Rashes, though, because, I don't know, we've all tried to wade through Rabbie Burns' work and maybe not always quite got the point, but I think in this, the message is just so clear. And, you know, he loved the birds. he didn't often treat them that well, but this, I think, is his legacy to women. And Green Grow Their Ashes. And I wish we could all sing along, but you can join in at home.
You just pretend we are singing. Well, we will be. You won't hear us, but we will be.
Yeah. And I particularly just love the last verse where he basically says that our creator, God, whatever you believe in, was a woman, and that she tested out her stuff on the men first, and then she made the lassies. Oh, and there's just lots of humour and lovely, poignant moments in it. And I think, you know, in every way, the sweetest hours I've ever spent are among the lassies. Oh, not that I don't love the boys, but hi. Here's to Ravi and the lassies.
And the lassies.
There's naught but care on every hand, in every year that passes. Oh, what signifies the life of man if it weren't for the lassies? Oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, the sweetest years that e'er I spent among the lassies. Oh, the worldly race and riches chase, and riches still they fly them all. And though at last they catch them fast, their hearts can ne'er enjoy them all. Green grow their ashes, oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, the sweetest years that e'er I spent among the lassies. Oh, give me a canny routine, my arms about my dearie. Oh, and while it cares and while they men may all get up so teary. Oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, sweetest years that e'er I spent among the lassies. Oh, so you say this, you sneered this, you're not but senseless asses. Oh, the wisest man the world saw, he dearly loved the lassies. Oh, old nature swears to lovely dears, her noblest work she classes. Oh, her prentice hand she tried on man, then she made the lassies. Oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, the sweetest years that e'er I spent among the lassies. Oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, green grow their ashes. Oh, the sweetest years that e'er I spent among the lassies. Oh,
Wonderful. Thank you.
Here's to Robbie. And I love the silent applause. It's great.
We should all be turning on our microphones to clap.
It's just like a gig.
Some gigs are like that, aren't they? What was I going to say? Do you want to? I don't know if you want to ask it.
Well, Horse, as I said earlier, we've got a wee Diva exclusive that I wanted to talk about. So we were talking a little about your painting earlier, and in very exciting news, Roxana has kindly agreed to let us use her gorgeous painting as the cover of our April issue. So Horse McDonald's going to be our cover star, and I was lucky enough to talk to you recently. We met up, was it October, November time? And we talked for a good few hours, and it was absolutely wonderful and nourishing and lovely. And that will be our cover story for the April issue, and that's on sale from the 26th of March. So put that date in your diaries, go and subscribe, and make sure you get your hands on that, because this woman's got an incredible story if you don't know it already. And it's an honour to share that with our readers.
Thank you for saying that. I was on the cover once before in 2001, so it was good to get it again and to actually have something unusual like that on the cover. So it's not like a photographic image; it's a very special image because, as I say, Roxana tries to capture a moment or an element or the elements of someone as opposed to looking realistically. So if you haven't seen the portrait, obviously that cover is going to be well worth having. Actually, I must go and take a photograph when it's in the shops. Oh, can we go into shops? Well, hopefully by that time we might be. Let's see.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. We'll plaster you all over the shelves of W.H. Smith's.
Well, that's it. We'll just, well, I'll take them out and put them all over the place. And
not quite the portrait gallery, but it'll do.
I think it's important. I think it's really important, and I'm really proud to have that there. Thank you for doing that, and I really enjoy your chat. As you found out, it's difficult to stop me talking.
Unfortunately, there's not a mute button in real life, so yeah.
No, unfortunately, otherwise I'd have been muted a long time ago. So shall we? So we now got a lovely little clip from Kezia Dugdale and her partner Jenny Gilruth, who kindly sent this in, and an extra guest.
Hi, I'm Kez Dugdale.
And I'm Jenny Gilruth.
This is Brody. He's looking delighted to be with you. Sorry we can't be with you live tonight for Diva's Burns Night celebrations. I'm afraid we've got our own family Burns supper tonight.
But we wish you all a very happy Burns Night, and we'll be raising a glass to you, and so will Brody.
Cheers.
Bye.
I couldn't leave you without trying to do a reading, although I've got to admit it's pretty intimidating when you've got international best-selling author Val McDermid doing a reading and also the National Poet Laureate in the form of Jackie Kay. But ho-hum, I'll give it a go. The first thing I was going to do was read a little bit of Tam O'Shanter, which is the most notorious of Robert Burns's poems. And it starts like this. When Chapman billies leave the street and drouthy neighbours meet, as market days are wearing late and folk began to tap the gate, while we sit boozing at the nappy, getting foo and unca-happy, we think now on the long Scots miles, the mosses, waters, slaps and stiles that lie between us and our hame, where sits our sulky sullen dame, gathering her brows like gathering storm, nursing her wrath to keep it warm. And like so much of history, that is one man talking about his experience of a drunken trip home from the pub. It's part drunken trip home, part ghost story. There's no voice of the woman in that story. So what I thought I would do is read a little bit of Kate O'Shanter with one or two little twists. It's not an official Burns poem, but it's definitely Burns inspired. And it goes a bit like this. And far do you suppose was Kate when market days were wearing late, while Tam frequented wretched dives and fooled around with landlords' wives and rode poor Meg through mud and ditches and had an eye for handsome witches, played peeping Tam at Alloway and yelled and gave himself away, and fled from there amid the din while Maggie barely saved his skin? Far was Kate, no far you think. Kate slaved awa the livelong day, they had so many bills to pay. The twins just had to have some shoes, and Tam, he spent that much on booze. She does the wash, she mends the clothes, and what else God only knows. She keeps the house all neat and trim, and makes the lunch for plough girl Kim. A neighbour girl they hire by the day who does the work whilst Tam's away. She herds the sheep and cattle too, feeds hens, milk cows, and when that's through, she makes the cheese and butter too for Tam to sell on market day. Though truth to tell it's hard to say, Tam drinks the proceeds half away. But to our tale. Tam won home that night at 4. When Maggie found the stable door, Tam stumbled senseless to the floor to sleep at half 8 hours or more. His dreams went through that ride again. And when he woke, he struggled to his feet. He was not clean, he was not neat. He scraped off what he could, and then he made his way from butt to ben. What the hell? Kate had gone, the twins as well, but she had left a note for him. I've sailed to Canada with Kim, and we expect to settle down in a nice wee farm near Saskatoon. Forgive me, Tam, and don't be sore. I couldn't take it anymore. I have to find a better day before I slave my life away. Don't fash yourself about the twins. I might as well confess. They're Kim's. And now, why this tale of truth shall read, ilk man and mother soon tak heed. Just try to live a sober life, and remember Tam O'Shanter's wife.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Kez and Jenny and Brodie. That was wonderful.
Real treat having a wee animal around, isn't it? I kind of think I'd love a little pet just now, but lockdown won't always be here, you know. So one day I'll get either a dog or something. Guinea pigs. I'm very fond of guinea pigs. So well, let's go back now to Kat. Are you ready, Kat, to sing something else for us? And you maybe give us a wee description.
Sure. So I'm going to do a Burns song now, and I'm going to go for I Walk in O, which I've actually recorded a few years ago, and it's one of my favourite ones. And I admit, when I first even read it, not just heard it, I thought it was about someone walking away in frustration until I paid attention. And I Walk in O actually means I'm awake all the time. I can't sleep. And I think this is one of and there's so many, but I think this is one of Robert Burns's really like beautifully sort of lamenting love poems. So I couldn't resist putting a sad one in. I'm sorry. So I'll go for it.
Okay. Summer's a pleasant time, flowers of every colour, water runs o'er the hue, and I long for my true lover. Oh, I walk in on, walking still and weary, sleep I can get near, for thinking on my dearie. Oh, I walk in on. When I sleep I dream, when I wake I am eerie. Oh, sleep I can get and I blurred my eyes with weeping. Oh, I walking, walking still and weary. Oh, sleep I can't get near, for thinking on my dearie. Oh, I walking on, walking still and weary. Oh, sleep I can't get nae, for thinking on my dearie. Oh, I walking on. It's so sad.
So sad, so gorgeous. Thank you so much for that.
It's lovely.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was just going to say, I wanted you to explain something that you explained to me about Tilo's plants, your partner's plants. This is really crazy. You need to hear this. So there are plants just behind Kat, beside the keyboards, etc., the paraphernalia of cables and stuff. So do you want to tell them what's happening with those plants, what he's done to them?
Do you know what's funny is he heard me tell you this story, and just at tea, we were having tea before we came up, and he went, if they ask you, can you say it properly? He said, it's a biosphere something. It's to do with his modules. And so basically I still don't know how to explain it, but you plug in the wires, and if the plant is alive or whatever you plug it to, even a human, anything that's alive, it sends signals into this module setup, and you can create like music from it. It's really bizarre, and he'll be up here for hours. It's so weird. And I bought these Christmas plants, and one was gone one day, and I was like, Tilo, I can't find my plant, and I'm sure I bought two. And he was like, oh yeah, so I've been making music from it. And I was just like, I don't want to know.
Sounds a bit Black Mirror.
It is a bit. It is. Honestly, he spends hours doing all this. I mean, it's amazing. Very odd.
Brilliant. Actually, brilliant. I'd actually like to hear that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I
Nice.
need to get him to share it more, actually, because it is quite good. Actually, it's good.
That was lovely, Kat. Thank you so much. People
Thanks.
can find you at Kat Healey Music, I'm sure, and all sorts of other things. But thank you very, very much
Thanks
for joining us. It's been a real pleasure. So now we've got a clip of. I called her a comic genius, and she agreed with this. This is a friend of mine. This is Karen Dunbar.
Hello everybody, I hope you are having a fantastic night at the DIVA Bothy, a celebration of all things Scottish, including some Rabbie Burns, which is our Scottish national poet. My name is Karen Dunbar. I am an entertainer of sorts and a very good friend of Horse McDonald. Hello Horse. And actually of Linda Riley as well. Hello Linda, remembering her from the 8-ball pool days. So anyway, I'm here tonight to give you a wee poem from Rabbie Burns. And Rabbie, here's some things that you might want to know about him. Rabbie loved Scotland. Rabbie loved whiskey. Rabbie loved the lassies. I don't like whiskey, but 2 out of 3 aren't bad. So wherever you are tonight, grab your loved one, give them a big hug, or as we say in Scotland, coorie in with your bidie in, and listen to this poem about Peggy. Where brave and angry winter storm the lofty ochels rise, far in their shade my Peggy's charms first blessed my wondering eyes. As one who by some savage stream a lonely gem surveys, astonished, doubly marks its beam with art's most polished blaze. Blessed be the wild sequestered shade, and blessed the day and hour, where Peggy's charms I first surveyed, when first I felt their power. The tyrant death, with grim control, may seize my fleeting breath, but tearing Peggy from my soul must be a stronger death. Happy Burns Night, everybody.
Wonderful.
Inimitable Karen Dunbar. People maybe further south don't know her as well as we do up here in Scotland, but she really is a comic genius, and I know that she's actually going on to do some stuff from February, rapping, and I've heard it, and actually it's genius. It really is clever. You need to watch out for that. So when we move straight back onto some more music, I think it's Lynnie again. It's your turn, love. I don't know if anyone else does this, but years ago when we were, and I think it goes back generation after generation, we used to have spin the bottle. So you'd spin the bottle and it would stop at somebody and it was your turn to perform. So Lynnie.
That's not why we spun. We didn't spin the bottle for a song in Greenock.
I don't know what generation you were brought up in, but that was how we played spin the bottle.
See if you want a winch horse, just ask.
Okay, I misunderstood the game.
Sneaking spinning the bottle into the conversation.
That wasn't my intention, I'm afraid.
That's fine. We're after the watershed. We can do all the wind.
That's great. Yeah, we just flip over the watershed now. So, Lynnie, like Coaltown Daisies and Kat and Lynnie have done some shows with me before, so we're kind of a little band almost. But tell us about this song, because I know it's a really, really important song, not just for you, but for other people as well.
Are we talking about the same song? It's my song. Hopefully it'll be important at some point this year. But I thought I would do a song that I wrote about Greta Thunberg, because I just find her so inspiring. And it was her 18th birthday in January. I can't believe she's only 18 with everything that she's achieved. And with all the beautiful things that Burns wrote about nature, I think if he was around right now, he would absolutely be a climate activist. He'd be right in amongst it. And I've got my t-shirt on, no music on a dead planet. Everything's backwards, I think, though, isn't it? That's what it is. So you can see it, good stuff. So yeah, I've released this song to honour Greta and to coincide with Glasgow. It's going to be a big year for Glasgow because we're hosting COP26. So I just want to try and spread the word. I feel like not enough of us know about it and are talking about it. People can go on climatefringe.org and see all the things that are happening. Any of the musicians, if you're doing about COP, to do with COP, you can upload it there. You can follow the hashtags Arts4COP. And yeah, just let's try and make it the best one yet. And I think if there's anything good that can come out of this pandemic, it's that Mother Nature has in some way had a wee break. So every cloud and all that. So this is Greta. Greta, you go tell them, 'cause your truth is hard to take. Whoa, Greta, you keep speaking, 'cause science is harder to fake. speaking, they'll have to use those cloths for ears. And I only wish I was as tough. And I hope your school strike is enough for us to master half your stuff while you save the earth. You're gonna save the earth. Shows all your worth. Jane Fonda and Ted Danson, they seem to get the urgency. Getting arrested's back in fashion, so we can hear those children speak. 'Cause it's their future looks so bleak. Oh, Greta, you go tell them, 'cause your humanity outweighs their hate. And there's an animated music video to go with the single. Check it out. I've got some lovely Scottish school kids singing, reading out her now famous "How Dare You" speech. So share it with your friends, your family, all the young'uns, everyone.
That was great. Thank you.
Really inspiring, Lynnie. Thank you very much. And I've been very fortunate to present the Ian Anderson show over a few months, and I was lucky to be able to play things by a few people, and that was one of those songs. And it's something I kind of know it. It's like kind of catchy at the same time as putting a message across, and that's always the best way to win people over, isn't it? And the climate change conference should have happened last year, and it was moved forward. So as you say, it's well worth looking at that. Climate, is it called? Say again what it's called. It's climate or
climatefringe.org, and it has every event that's going to be taking place will be.
There's some great stuff happening. Yeah. Well worth looking at.
I saw you singing a lot, Horse. I'm honoured.
I was totally out of tune. I was like, is it muted? Is it just check? We're moving so swiftly on. I hope everyone is enjoying tonight. I am absolutely thrilled to bits with everyone who's taken part. It's just been amazing. It really has been like we've been sitting in our own little bothy with a fire and a couple of drinks and friends and some friendly banter, and we should maybe do it again at some point. I think Carrie was saying, when is it the Welsh version of this and the Irish version, etc., etc. So maybe we need to do something in another month or so. I don't know.
Definitely need to do this regularly, and judging by some of the comments that we're getting on social media, people are really enjoying it. Adele Roberts of Radio 1 fame, she said, "Happy Burns Night to my Scottish brothers and sisters. Wonderful celebration happening right now on the Diva Magazine community Facebook group. She's watching with her hen, Kate Holderness." So yeah, lots of nice comments coming in, and definitely put this date in your diary for next year, and we'll have to do something for something before that as well. I think it's just so nice to be together, isn't it?
I think, like you say, hearing the music as well. I mean, we could have pre-recorded things, and I know. I mean, thank you to Lindsay. It is Lindsay and Vivian, because I got my predictive text kept saying Lonnie instead of Lynnie, and it's Lindsay and Vivian from Coaltown Daisies. There you go, Lindsay and Lynnie and Kat, because doing this Zoom thing absolutely for a singer is a nightmare, I have to say, as I'm just about to sing too. But I mean, I think it's just a lovely, lovely thing to hear, as Carrie said. Real things being sung, in real time. So, as long as I don't end up looking like Max Headroom, that's an old reference for anyone who doesn't understand that, Google it. But I'm going to sing. I'm going to finish my singing now, just before the end section. And gosh, I've loved this. I've absolutely loved it. So thank you for asking me, Carrie and Fiona and Linda. So this is one of those songs. This is played by my lovely piano keyboard player Gemma Roberts, and we have such fun doing this live. This is the classic Dusty Springfield song, I Close My Eyes and Count to 10.
It isn't the way that you look, and it isn't the way that you talk, and it isn't the things that you say or do make me want you so. It has nothing to do with the wine or the music that's flooding my mind. Never before have I been so sure you're the someone I dreamed I would find. It's the way you make me feel the moment I am close to you. It's a feeling so unreal, somehow I can't believe it's true. The pounding I feel in my heart, the hoping that we'll never part. I can't believe this is really happening to me. I close my eyes and count to 10, and when I open them, you're still here. I close my eyes and count again. I can't believe it, but you're still here. We were strangers a moment ago, with a few dreams but nothing to show. The world was a place with a frown on his face, and tomorrow was just I don't know. It's the way you make me feel the moment I am close to you. Makes today seem so unreal, somehow I can't believe it's true. Tomorrow will you still be here? Tomorrow will come, but I fear why it's happening to me is only a dream. I close my eyes and count to 10, and when I open them, you're still here. I close my eyes and count again. I can't believe it, but you're still here. I close my eyes and count again. I can't believe it, but you're still here. I close my eyes, 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 and you're still here.
Woo! I was starting a new one there, but no, it's too late. I've been on for too long now.
Encore, encore.
More.
Honestly, see, as a singer, I'm watching the thing peaking, and I'm having to go further and further back, and like I'm getting the red light, and I'm going further and further back. It's a nightmare. Anyhow, that means nothing to anybody out there probably, but we're going to go now to another small piece by the lovely Jackie Kay, who sent this for us specially.
I wrote this poem, A Lang Promise, as a love poem. It's about loving somebody under any circumstances, and whether your circumstances change dramatically or not. It seemed an appropriate poem to read at this particular point when people's circumstances are changing dramatically, all over the place under the COVID crisis. But it puts relationships under a great deal of pressure, perhaps. But also people actually discover what really matters to them, and what matters most to us as human beings really is love. So this poem's got a lot of old Scots words in it, which some people might not understand, but that's life. So this is called A Lang Promise. Whether the weather be dreich or fair, my love, if good times greet us, or we hae to face the worst, a hint and a fore, what will happen to us, blind in the present, eyes open to the furore, unkempt or perjink, suddenly poor or poorly, peely-wally or in fine fettle, belled or frosty, calm as a ghoul or in a fiery farry, in dark December, in springy spring weather, doon by the barrows, on the Champs-Élysées, at midnight, first licht, whether the moon be round or crescent and ye be of sound mind or absent, I'll tack your trusty hon and lead you over the haw hame, my darling. I'll carry my lantern and door defend you agin ony foe. And whilst there's breath in me, I'll blaw it into ye. For ye are my true love. Nichts a fall into slumber, it's ye swimming up in all your goodness and blitheness, your passion. You'll be mine now until the end of time, my bonny lassie. I'll tack the full good of you, and gie it back to you. A first kiss, a lang promise, time's golden ring.
Perfect.
Beautiful. And Jackie is only our macker, sadly, for another few months, she was saying. And I was like, who on earth is going to replace her?
What big shoes that they're going to have to fill.
Just incredible, absolutely wonderful. Brought me to tears, that did. Just lovely. I'm so delighted and proud of all of the people that have been here tonight. It's just been a lovely evening for me personally. I felt like I've been in good company all night. So thank you everybody for performing and everybody for coming in and joining us. It's been wonderful. I've absolutely loved it. Thank you, Carrie, for inviting me. Thank you, Diva.
Thank you, Horse. It's been absolutely wonderful. It's been like a big Bosie, a long overdue Bosie. So thank you.
Tell everyone what a Bosie is.
It's a cuddle.
Yeah, I could really do with a cuddle right now, so that's it. It's been like that. So I just wanted to personally thank Kat, Lynnie, Vivian and Lindsay from Coaltown Daisies, and Hannah. All of our speakers, we've obviously had Val McDermid, Jackie Kay obviously, and Angela Crawley, and Kezia and Jenny. I think I mentioned Hannah. Didn't I mention you, Hannah? How can we forget you, Hannah? Thank you for coming in.
You mentioned me twice now.
There you go. You can never overstate. Never. What does it lead? Here's a toast to us. Was like us, as we would say in Scotland. And some people go, Guy few in the Rodid. That's what they usually say. But here's to all of us.
Flange.
Bottoms up. And to lead us out, we've got the Coaltown Daisies with a very, very appropriate song. Do you want to tell us what it's about and then lead us out of the evening? Thank you, everybody. Safe home or continue to Kurian.
Thank you, Horse.
Thanks, Horse. So we have a song about whiskey, funnily enough. We wrote a song called The Whiskey Song, and it was after a night out. We were just telling our membership community the story of it, and the long and short of it is, we had a night out with all of these people from around the world, woke up the next morning, there's no evidence, none. And we've actually recently found out that the one person who may have known is sadly no longer with us. 2 years ago, they sadly passed away, so the story's been buried forever. So we do have this whiskey song for you.
It was on Isla, the Isle of Isla. If anyone's been to the Isle of Isla, it's beautiful. And I have an Isla whiskey this evening. So yeah, Slanjiva.
We do.
This has been awesome. Thank you so much for inviting us to join in.
Yeah, cheers Diva for having us.
What's next? An Irish one? Is it Irish?
Oh,
one?
aye. St. Paddy's Day in March.
St. Patrick's Day, let's do it.
Yeah, totally. So what we thought we would do, which will give us a wee chance to like roughly sound check it, because we were maybe peeking a wee bit in the first song. See, we went in with a really serious start. This is the brave one, play. And now we've just lulled you into a false sense of security, and the banter's coming out now. So we'll teach you all at home the hook to this tune, and everybody here so they can sing along. And Horse, you can give us the thumbs up or down if it's too loud, and then when the song starts, we'll just peek it down a wee bit. Sorted.
So this is what you guys have to sing. You can unmute to help us along.
Aye, well, maybe. We'll try. But everyone at home, this is what you need to know. Do it slowly, just for dramatic effect, right? Oh, 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 oh.
And
you
one
guys! So that's what you need to know. And we know Fiona behind the scenes knows this. We've seen her dancing about with a pint in her hand to this. Going mental. So aye.
No peeking then?
Are we all good, Heart, yeah?
It's all good, but I just think unmuting us is a bit of a disaster. Look at Fiona's face.
Yeah, I agree. I was like, right.
Go on, Fiona, join in. Right, here we go.
Yep, or we'll be in the
Just
red.
don't unmute.
Right, the whiskey song, here we go. Cheers for having us, Diva, cheers for having us, Horse. And it was lovely to see you guys as well. Kat, nice to see you again. It's been a really long time, actually, totally. Cheers to everybody. This is the whiskey song, Happy Burns Night. Can I get a witness for tomorrow I'll be gone? The memories will follow and I'll feel like I'm alone. I'm holding on from saying I don't wanna go. So pour me a whiskey for the road. Pour me a whiskey. Are you ready, Diva? For the road. I never knew the likes of such a quiet little town. It was hard to see us coming from shore. We travelled over land and found adventure by the sea. The wind that blew the hatches by the door. Everything was quiet, yet we knew there was a plan. I heard the whispers on the way from home. Bravo! Suddenly the music played, we all joined the band. Threw our friends around us on the floor. Can I get a witness for tomorrow I'll be gone? Memories will follow and I feel like I'm alone. I'm holding on forever saying I don't want to go. Pour me a whiskey for the road. The colors of the world are living for this night alone. We're holding in our hearts until we die. Can you feel the music? Can you see the people dance? Do you know that I am by your side? We're drowning in our wanderlust for something that is pure. It's time to lay the cards out on the table. Looking back on yesterday, we all want something more. Take me by the hand and sing. Woo! Yeah! Can I get a witness for tomorrow I'll be gone? Memories will follow and I feel like I'm alone. I'm holding on forever saying I don't want to go. Pour me a whiskey for the
the table. Looking back on yesterday, we all want something more.
More of this.
I quite like more of this.
More of this.
We need more people in the diva community too. I think everyone needs to just join in, sign up, all of that.
So take me by the hand and sing along. Take me by the hand and sing along. Can't get away just for tomorrow I'll be gone. Memories will follow and I feel like I'm alone. I'm holding on to everything I don't want to go. Pour me a whiskey for the road. Pour me a whiskey for the road. Pour me a whiskey.
Happy Robbie Burns Day, everybody.
For